Okay, so I got 10:30 on my clock. So again, to respect everyone's time, how about we begin today? So good morning and welcome to today's Safety Connection. We're so happy that you could join us today to explore essential safety practices for small businesses. A little bit about Zoe and I. We're both account representative on the small business team at WSPS, and our focus has been connecting with small businesses and community associations across the province, sharing health and safety awareness, and helping highlight our free resources that can really make a difference in supporting small businesses. Now, between the two of us, we bring more than 45 years of combined experience supporting customers with their health and safety needs. So you're definitely in good hands today. So with that in mind, let's dive in and get started. To better understand participation in Safety Connections and ensure training is accessible across Ontario, we invite you to complete a short survey. We're collecting demographic information on behalf of the Ministry of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development. Responses are secure, they're anonymous, and they're analyzed in aggregate by WSPS before sharing with the Ministry of Labour. Participation is certainly optional. To access the survey, you can certainly click into the chat or on the screen, scanning the QR code. You're going to need the function number, which in this case is 230757. We thank you so much for making health and safety training accessible for all. So before we get started with today's webinar, I'd like to go over a few quick housekeeping items with you all. First, we recommend that you use your computer audio with headphones for the best sound quality. If you prefer, you can certainly use phone conference audio. That's also available. You'll find those details in the access email that you received. And just a reminder, your cameras and your microphones will remain off for the remainder of the webinar. Now, we appreciate your participation throughout today's webinar. A little bit about Microsoft Teams engagement feature in case you're not familiar with them. So you'll notice that there's an option to use the reactions in the menu bar. These are instant and they float up on your screen. So certainly feel free to use them to share your energy with us. Please share your responses in the chat as well. The chat is also available in the menu bar. It's public and visible to everybody. So certainly feel free to send your messages anytime. Microsoft Team also offers two accessibility features that may be helpful. To ensure live captions, select More from the menu bar, then select Language and Speech and choose Turn on Live Captions. To enable full screen mode, you want to select View from the menu bar, then More Options, and certainly choose Full Screen. Both features can be disabled by following the same steps. If you do experience any technical difficulties during the webinar, our wonderful colleague Jessica Vieira is working behind the scenes to make things run smoothly for us. So if you run into any issues, please send a message in the meeting chat or reply to the access email that you received. Jessica is going to be more than happy to help. So Safety Connections program has four main goals. The first is to learn, share, and discover what is of value to you, our customers, and our community. The next would be to connect virtually with industry peers, to facilitate best practice exchange, and also to provide an opportunity to attend a health and safety webinar from your personal workspace. So thank you so much for those that are joining us from their home, from the office, maybe even from the car. So thanks so much for spending some time with us today. Okay, so to help us get a feel as to who's joining us today, we want to take a really quick poll. So what sector are you joining us from today? So the poll question is coming up on your screen. Are you from the agriculture, manufacturing, or service sector? Okay. Wow, we have quite the mix. So a lot of others. Interesting. 25% in service, 22% in manufacturing, and 4% in agri. Great. Awesome. Okay. Next poll question is, what is the size of your business? Are you a smaller organization, 0 to 5 employees, 6 to 19, 20 to 49, or do you have 50 plus employees? Okay, we have larger organizations, so 40% for 50 plus, 6 to 19, 42%. Awesome. That's great. Fantastic. It's great to see such a wide mix of people joining us today. And I'm really sure that you're going to get a lot from our session today. We got plenty to cover, so let's just get right into it. So here's what we're going to cover today, all through a small business lens, so everything feels practical and doable. We're going to start by talking about the internal responsibility system and why it matters in the workplace. Then we're going to move into duties and responsibilities and hazard recognition, the essentials for small businesses, and what they need to understand about that. We're going to walk through training and orientation. This is going to include a quick demo, a live demo of our orientation handbook generator. We're also going to highlight the free tools and resources available through our Small Business Center. And then we're going to wrap things up by showcasing the amazing free supports and resources and services that we have that WSPS has to offer small businesses to really strengthen their safety program. Again, lots to cover. Let's just dive into it. Now, in case you're not aware of who WSPS is, a little bit about us. Workplace Safety and Prevention Services. We're a not-for-profit organization committed to protecting Ontario workers and businesses. We serve 174,000 member firms and 4.2 million workers in the agriculture, manufacturing, and service sectors. This being hospitality, restaurants, and retail, for example. We essentially offer health and safety expertise, consulting, training, and resources, and our mandate includes helping businesses understand their risk and legal obligations to stay in compliance to build those safer workplaces. We are also a proud partner in Ontario's Occupational Health and Safety System. Now, the system is made up of different partners, and each partner has a really unique role to play when implementing the occupational health and safety strategy. Our system partners include the Ministry of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development. Essentially, their role is legislation, enforcement, and prevention. Then we have the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board, the WSIB. Their role is worker compensation, prevention, and back to work supports. And WSPS, Workplace Safety and Prevention Services. We are one of the 4 health and safety associations, along with IHSA, which stands for Infrastructure Health and Safety Association, PSHSA, Public Services Health and Safety Association, and WSN, Workplace Safety North. And we are in the business of prevention. So we want to prevent those workplace injuries and illnesses from happening. We're really here to provide guidance, information, and resources so businesses like yours can build safer workplaces. Now that we've covered key partners in Ontario's health and safety system and how each one supports prevention, let's connect that with the legislation which is behind it all. So at the core of Ontario's approach is the Occupational Health and Safety Act, the law that outlines what employers, supervisors, workers are responsible for. It's also where the idea of due diligence comes in, meaning employers have to take every reasonable precaution to keep workers safe in the workplace. So you see due diligence in everyday things. So having a strong health and safety policy, a program that supports it, and clear procedures for everyone to follow. When expectations are clear, workers know what to do, supervisors know how to lead, and employers can show they're taking action to keep people safe in the workplace. So all of this prevents incidents, protects workers, and really builds a strong, sustainable safety culture. Now that we're talking about the key partners in Ontario's health and safety system and how legislation responsibilities work and due diligence all fits in, it's worth stepping back to look at why this all matters. So why is it important to have health and safety living and breathing in your organization? The impact of workplace injuries and illnesses in Ontario is huge, and the number is really going to put it in perspective. So why is health and safety such a big deal? So I love this analogy. So this is a picture of BMO Field. It's a soccer field in Toronto, Ontario. The capacity of this arena is something like 28,000 spectators. Now, I want you to imagine 7 arenas of the same size. So doing the math, 28,000 spectators times 7 arenas is something like 196,000 people. That's the number of people getting hurt in Ontario every single year. So almost 200,000 claims are going to the WSIB every single year. When you think about it, that number is really staggering. And we know that accidents can certainly be preventable, whether it's a car accident, a workplace accident. Any accident is certainly preventable. So when companies have strong health and safety policies and programs in place, it's not just about checking a box. They're taking real steps to keep people safe, healthy, and able to go home at the end of the day. And that's what really matters here. Let's shift into the core principles that drives all of Ontario's occupational health and safety law. So this is called the internal responsibility system. It's really the foundation behind how health and safety works in Ontario. Essentially, everyone has a part to play when it comes to health and safety in the workplace. It's the key principle behind the Occupational Health and Safety Act. And so the internal responsibility system focuses on specific duties, rights, responsibilities, and the shared obligation of employers, supervisors, workers, and joint health and safety committees. So the Occupational Health and Safety Act clearly spells out duties and responsibilities and the rights. Of course, the employer having the greatest responsibility, their role is to provide a safe work environment, to establish health and safety programs following all the applicable laws according to the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Supervisors, their role is to communicate, to monitor, and enforce these rules. Workers need to follow these rules and report any concerns to their supervisors. And then if you're a larger organization, you're either going to have a joint health and safety committee or a health and safety representative in place. And essentially their role is to monitor the system, make recommendations to the employer, and support communications between all parties. So the long and the short of it, the internal responsibility system is everyone has a part to play when it comes to health and safety in the workplace. Now that we've covered the internal responsibility system and everyone's role in keeping workplaces safe, let's take a look at how those responsibilities translate into actual legal requirements based on the size of the organization. So if you're 1 to 5 employees, there is no legal requirement to have either a joint health and safety committee or a health and safety representative in place, unless you have a designated substance. Now, designated substances, there's a huge long list of those, but some examples of designated substances could be asbestos, benzene, isocyanates, lead, silica. So again, a very short list of a very long list of designated substances. The long and the short of it, if you don't have any designated substances, you are not required to have either a joint health and safety committee or a health and safety representative from 1 to 5 employees. Now that definitely changes. So 6 to 19 employees, you are legally required to have a health and safety representative that is among the worker representative that does not have any managerial, does not exercise any managerial functions. And oftentimes when I'm talking to small businesses, this is the mistake in the gap that I see. So an employer, a supervisor takes on this role, and that can't be the case. It needs to be a worker for the worker voice. So please keep that in mind when you are selecting a health and safety representative and you are a smaller organization. 20 to 49 employees, this is where a business is required to have a joint health and safety committee of at least 2 certified members. This is a worker representative and a management representative. The larger the organization, the larger the joint health and safety committee. So 50 plus, are you required to have 4 people on the committee, and of course 2 certified reps. Always more worker representatives than management representatives. So please keep that in mind as well when selecting your joint health and safety committee representatives. Okay, so we've covered the legal duties in workplaces. Let's look at the other side of the equation, the 3 worker rights that every worker has under the Occupational Health and Safety Act. So in addition to legal duties, workers have 3 rights under the Occupational Health and Safety Act. The first is the right to know. Absolutely, a worker certainly has the right to know what work-related hazards that they could be exposed to. The second would be the right to participate, right? So maybe you do have someone who wants to be either a health and safety representative or on the Joint Health and Safety Committee. This is all about having a part to play when it comes to health and safety. And absolutely, a worker definitely has the right to refuse unsafe work. If they feel that they're exposing themselves to unsafe work or a dangerous task. And I often say this is where communication comes in, right? So this is where you're communicating with your employer and with your supervisor about those risks or those hazards and really working through the process. Let's move into the next key piece of safety awareness, understanding hazards. So recognizing the different hazard categories is essential because a hazard is simply anything that could hurt or harm you. And so understanding the different hazard categories is really important to recognizing potential dangers in the workplace. There are 6 main types of hazards, and it's really important to know that hazards exist in every workplace. So let's dive into them a little bit. Starting off with physical hazards, these are things that include extreme temperatures. So maybe you have someone working in extremely hot temperatures in the summertime, extremely cold temperatures in the wintertime, noise, there's lots of noise in the environment, there's lots of vibration or radiation. So those are physical hazards. When we're talking biological hazards, these are living organisms that cause illness or disease, things like bacteria, mold, and viruses. MSDs, musculoskeletal disorders, musculoskeletal disorders, or musculoskeletal disorders, tomato, tomato. Injuries to the musculoskeletal systems. This includes your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments, your nerves, your joints, often caused by forced repetitive movements or improper workstation setup. Psychosocial hazards, more important than ever before, factors that affect our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. These could be things like workplace harassment, stress, and violence. Moving into safety hazards, these can be conditions that cause injury or loss of life, your slips, trips, and fall hazards, inappropriate machine guarding hazards, equipment malfunctioning. And then finally, there's chemical hazards, toxic substances that cause bodily harms. This can include your gases, your vapors, your dust, your fumes. So essentially, hazards are really present in every workplace, and managing these hazards is really key to preventing injuries and illnesses. To effectively manage workplace hazards and create a safer environment, we use a system called the hierarchy of controls. So essentially, this framework prioritizes hazard control methods in specific order from most effective to least effective, helping organizations reduce the risk at the source. So I'm going to walk you through each level of the hierarchy of controls, and I'm going to use the example or the analogy of handling and storing heavy boxes. So if we're talking about elimination, this is where we're eliminating the hazard altogether. So we're going to remove the source of danger entirely. And the example of this could be avoiding storing heavy boxes on high shelves to eliminate the risk of those boxes falling down on us, right? So we're going to eliminate that hazard altogether. When we talk about substitutive hazard, this is all about replacing the hazard items or processes with safer alternatives. So the example of this could be using smaller boxes or lighter boxes instead of heavier ones to really reduce the risk of injury. Eliminating engineering controls. This is all about designing physical changes to reduce exposure to hazards. Maybe we're using hand trucks or dollies or conveyor belts to really move those heavy boxes instead of lifting them manually. Applying administrative controls. We're going to change the way people work through the policies and the procedures, developing clear protocols for stacking and storing boxes safely, and maybe even having a schedule to regularly do safety checks. Provide training and awareness. This is where we're going to educate employees on safe practices and hazard recognition. We're going to train staff on proper lifting techniques to prevent those back injuries. And then finally, we have personal protective equipment, PPE. This is where we're going to equip the worker to get gear to protect them from the hazards. This is where we're going to provide them with those back support belts so those employees don't hurt themselves if they do need to lift those heavy boxes, so they have that in place. So really, by following these steps, employers can significantly reduce workplace hazards and ensure a safer environment for all employees. Now that we've walked through how hazards are controlled and the system that supports safer workplaces, let's shift into something designed specifically to help small businesses put all of this into practice, is our Small Business Center. So with a show of hands or reactions, how many of you have either heard of our Small Business Center or are currently using our Small Business Center? I'd love to know how many are familiar with it. Okay, seeing a lot of thumbs up. Love it. Fantastic. Fantastic. So it's this Small Business Center is packed with free resources and tools designed to support small businesses. Now, the bulk of the information is organized under the safety roadmap with size-specific requirements and helpful resources. So certainly feel free to take some time to explore the site and get familiar with the content. As I move through the presentation, I'm going to highlight some of the other resources that you're going to find on our small business site. Here are just some of the policies and procedures and resources and tools that you're going to find on the Small Business Center. This is really an easy win. It doesn't take long, and you can really make progress right away. You can't build your whole safety program overnight, but you can hop onto the website, you can click what you need, you can print it off, and really start putting things into place right away. It's really as easy as that. So certainly take some time to visit our Small Business Center. Now that we've looked at the tools and the resources available, let's look at stepping back to see how everything fits together. This is where our safety roadmap comes in. Here is what the safety roadmap looks like. It outlines the key topics that you're going to find, and it's based on the size of the organization, right? So we won't go through every single section today, but what I do want to do is highlight a few important ones. No matter which version of the safety roadmap you choose, we always ask customers to start with the safety checklist. This helps you identify gaps in your health and safety program. And it helps you make quick improvements. It helps you recognize where the gaps are, and it really addresses those gaps to really put you on the right path towards a stronger, safer workplace. I also wanted to mention the duties and responsibilities section and some of the resources that you're going to find under duties and responsibilities. So when you click on duties and responsibilities, these are the sections that you're going to see. You're going to see an overview, videos, downloads, training, all kinds of great information. What I wanted to focus on here today is the Ministry of Labor's online health and safety awareness training. So it's a great tool, not just for new workers, but also as a refresher for your current team. I want to take a moment to talk to you about the health and safety awareness and why it's such an important program. So by law, all workers and supervisors in Ontario must complete the basic occupational health and safety awareness training. It gives everyone a clear understanding of their rights, their responsibilities, and really the basics of health and safety. The ministry's online awareness training is a great resource, not just for new workers, but also a solid refresher for your existing team as well. It walks you through essential worker rights. It takes a deeper dive into duties and responsibilities, internal responsibility system, and really gives you a basic overview of the Occupational Health and Safety Act. It doesn't really take long to complete, about 45 minutes to an hour. It's free, and everyone gets a certificate at the end that you can keep as a training record. And honestly, it's not just for adults entering the workforce. It's also a great tool for young people too, especially with summer being around the corner. God help us, this has been a long winter. So just think spring is a couple of weeks away. Summer is just around the corner, and we're going to have, our children are going to be looking for summer jobs. So it's especially good to have our kids sit down and do the health and safety awareness training. I know years ago, my kids, when they were looking for their first job, I had them sit down and do the health and safety awareness training. They weren't thrilled about it. I was not the fan favorite that day, but that's okay. They sat down, they did the health and safety awareness training. We got the certificate of completion. We added it to their resume, and then they started looking for jobs. Both of them found jobs that summer, and I'd like to think that it showed the employer they took one extra step to do the health and safety awareness training and how important it was for them. So it's really a simple way to help them understand what safe work looks like before they even step into the workplace, right? Okay, now that we've covered the basics, let's talk about good training and orientation and what that looks like in the workplace. So, question for you, who needs to be trained? The short answer is everybody needs to be trained when it comes to the workplace. Anyone who steps foot into your workplace needs some level of health and safety training that fits their role and the hazards that they could be exposed to. So new employees, they certainly need a solid introduction to your safety expectations right away from day one. Young workers too, they're at the highest risk, especially the first month on the job. Statistics show that the first 30 days on the job, new and young workers are going to have an accident. So we certainly want to make sure to have that foundation, that they know their rights and responsibilities and who to ask if they have any questions. Now, what if you have some returning workers? Maybe you have someone who's been on parental leave or has been on a leave of absence from the workplace. So it's really important to get refreshers on key safety information for them. Supervisors, they need to be able to spot hazards, to understand the law, and to enforce these policies. So under the Occupational Health and Safety Act, they need to be a competent supervisor, which really means that they got to have knowledge, training, and experience to do the job safely and understand the workplace risks, right? Contractors, visitors, and suppliers, anyone coming into their site should be held at the same safety expectation as your employees. Same with temporary workers from agencies. They really need to have proper training and information before they get started for work that day, or any day for that matter. The goal is really simple. Whoever walks through your doors should have some should have some health and safety training, understanding the risks around them, and know what's expected of them. So really important there. When you're thinking about training, there are a couple key areas to keep on your radar. There are the basics most workplaces need to cover. So these are the basics here. We talked about it, health and safety awareness training for workers and supervisors. This is foundational stuff, so make sure to start there. We also talked about designated substances, and this is where WHMIS comes in, right? So making sure everyone understands hazardous materials and how to read those safety data sheets. Violence and harassment, your policies, your procedures, and how to report and respond to concerns. Emergency plans and evacuation areas, what to do in emergency, where to go, where is everybody meeting, is there a head count, do you have a checklist, is everyone out of the building? So these are things that you need to know about in case of a real emergency or fire. PPE use and care, this is how we use it properly, when to replace it, and how to look after it. Common job hazards and controls. This is really about helping people recognize the risks in their specific jobs and how to manage them. First aid locations. What happens if there's an accident at the workplace? Who are your first aiders? What are their names? Are their names posted on the joint health or on your health and safety board? Where are your first aid kits? All important information that you really need to know, right? Supervisors and joint health and safety committees, health and safety representative contacts, who to go to for questions and concerns. And if you are looking for additional training, we got lots of options here at WSPS. We offer virtual Joint Health and Safety Committee training for your convenience. There is also a really inexpensive health and safety representative e-course available for $25. So lots of ways that we can support you at a minimal cost. Now, all of this can really feel like a lot, but there is really good news. And we have a tool that can really help you pull everything together and build an orientation handbook instantly. It makes the whole process way easier and gives you a solid starting point. So we know that allocating resources for worker training and orientation can be really challenging, and many people don't know where to start. So this is where the orientation handbook generator comes in. It's handy, it's free, it really helps businesses produce and download employee handbooks instantly. It really helps simplify compliance with the Occupational Health and Safety Act. It's customizable by sector, by company size. It really aids in creating an orientation handbook, easy to produce, free to download, and you can produce many different versions. So if you have a larger organization and you want to produce one for the office staff, you can certainly do one. The warehouse staff, maybe you have a manufacturing plant. So there's many different versions that you can produce. I'm excited to present a live demonstration of the orientation guide. You can certainly scan the QR code and keep it as a tab on your phone. A bit of a disclaimer, during the demo, I'm going to be showcasing the app to demonstrate the ease in the use, but please remember to select options that are really relevant to your specific business needs. Each business is going to have different hazards and requirements. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to toggle to my other screen. And just a thumbs up that you could see it. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, this is the landing page for the orientation handbook generator. We're going to click the link. We're going to enter the information and save it. We're going to download our tailor-made handbook. So let's get started here. Okay, so the first thing that's going to ask you to do, it's going to ask you to register for an account. And I would highly recommend that you register an account. Therefore, if you have to go in and make modifications to your orientation guide, you just simply sign in, make your modifications, and you got that very handy. For this purpose, we're going to sign in as a guest. So the first thing that it's going to ask you to do is, what is your business name? Enter your business name. So my business name is Stella's Cafe. And the next question it's going to ask is, how many workers do you regularly employ? So this is going to include your management, your part-time workers, temporary, seasonal. In my cafe, I have 6 to 19 workers, so we're going to select that. It's going to ask, do you have any of the following designated substances? Again, long list of designated substances. I don't have any of this in my cafe. We're going to say no to that. Next question, do you have any Ministry of Labor orders related to health and safety representative? Nope. Do we have any Ministry of Labor orders related to Joint Health and Safety Committee? Nope. Now, The reason that's here is because that's actually one of the top 5 orders that the ministry writes. So when the ministry goes out and does inspections, usually those are the orders that they're writing. So very important, if you are a business and we don't have this in place, we definitely need to make sure that we're meeting compliance. Okay, the next question is going to be, what sector is your business in? Service, manufacturing, or agriculture? My cafe's in the service sector. Then it's going to bring subcategories down. Vehicle sales and service, hospitality and tourism. We're going to go down to restaurants and food services. That's where my cafe is going to be labeled as. It's going to ask, do you meet any requirements for the naloxone in your workplace? We're going to say no. Now, the long and the short of it, naloxone kits, if you know of a possible worker having a potential overdose in the workplace, you could be eligible to get a free naloxone kit at participating pharmacies. So you certainly want to look into that if you know of someone who is using opioids in your workplace. So I'm just going to leave that there. We're going to continue with that. Okay, so then we're going to expand these categories. It's going to ask you, your handbook is going to include a generic health and safety policy statement. Would you like to replace the standard content with your own company policy statement? Now, certainly if you have your own policy statement, you definitely want to expand it, copy and paste it and put it in here. But I'm starting from scratch, so I have nothing. So I'm going to say no to that. Duties and responsibilities, same thing. It's going to have a duties and responsibilities statement. Would you like to add your would you like to add your own? No, I have nothing. We're starting from scratch. Worker accountability, same thing. We're going to have an accountability discipline statement. I got nothing, saying no to that. Where will your health and safety inspections be posted or available for employees to look at? Mine is going to be on the health and safety board in the lunchroom. Expanding more categories. It's going to ask, where is the shelter place for your location? Well, my shelter place in an emergency is going to be the back storage room. Where is the assembly location? In case of an emergency or fire, we're all going to go into the outside, into the back parking lot. Emergency contact numbers, where are they going to be located? In my cafe, they're going to be on the health and safety board in the break room. What is the physical address for emergency services to respond? My cafe is located at 123 Main Street in Milton. Is there any other emergency information you'd like to include in the handbook? Of course, if there is, you want to say yes, but for this purpose, we're going to say no. Now we're talking about first aid. So where is the location of your first aid station? Mine is going to be at the front cashier area. Next question is, do you have an eye wash station? Nope. Shower, chemical shower? Nope. Expanding more categories. It's going to ask about reporting hazard statement. Do you have any? We do not. Okay. And then it's going to ask about workplace inspection statement. If you have one, certainly add it, but we don't have anything. Workplace hazards. Now it's going to give you subcategories. So in my cafe, we typically experience musculoskeletal disorders. We have slips, trips, and fall hazards. I got heavy boxes that my staff are handling, so material handling. I make sandwiches in my cafe, so there's knife hazards, contact with hot objects or substances. We use ladders. So definitely you would select whatever categories are related to your workplace. There's certainly a long list of other hazards you can see. For this purpose, we're going to say no. It's going to ask, would you like to add any workplace hazards to your handbook? Of course, if you have specific hazards for your workplace, this is where you want to add it. For this purpose, we're going to say no. Personal protective equipment. So my staff wear safety non-slip shoes. We're going to say, we're going to select that. They wear gloves. They wear aprons. So again, you would select whatever's relevant to your business. And then would you like to add any more PPE to the handbook? Of course, if you have it, add it. And the final question is violence and harassment definition and reporting procedures. If you have your policies and procedures, certainly add them. If not, we say no. Okay, here we go. Continue. Boom, we've created it. Stella's Cafe, Health and Safety Handbook. We created today on February 24th, 2026. It gives you an overview. It talks about our commitment to health and safety and prevention of mental harm. Duties and responsibilities, an employer, a supervisor, a worker, talks about worker rights, worker accountability. So as you can see, it's very comprehensive, lots of great information. And we did that in what, 5 minutes? 5 minutes. So I'm just going to scroll down because again, there's multiple pages here. We're going to go down to, remember when I selected material handling? So it gives you an overview of material handling and what's expected from the employee responsibility standpoint. Contact with hot objects and substances, going to give you an overview. What's the employee's responsibilities? Same with musculoskeletal disorders. So very comprehensive, jam-packed. We're going to just scroll down for time purposes to the very end. This is where you're going to download it as a PDF. You're going to print it off. You're going to give it to your new employees. They're going to read it. You're going to have conversations about it back and forth. They're going to sign and date it. You're going to sign and date it. And boom, that's your training record. So in 5 minutes, we've created an orientation handbook. And just imagine what you can do in a half hour. You could have multiple versions, right? So, okay, I'm just going to stop right there. And Zoe's going to bring up the PowerPoint again. I'm just going to take a minute to see if anyone has any questions for me about anything that I've covered in the webinar so far, including the orientation handbook generator. So let's just go to the chat here. Yes, you could definitely, yep, absolutely. It could be modified any which way. Oh, yes. So the health and safety awareness, that was actually a great question. So the health and safety awareness session definitely comes in multiple languages as well. Yes. Comes in, I believe, English, French, Spanish, Mandarin. Perfect. Okay. Yes, you definitely need to modify it for each location. Each province has slightly different requirements. So the one location being in Nova Scotia, I would just make sure that the orientation guide meets compliance and that you're covering off your bases there. So lots of great questions. Hopefully I didn't miss any in the chats. Okay. I guess you would just troubleshoot it, to be honest with you. I'm sure there's many different, we're talking about logging in, when we're logging into the orientation handbook generator, to be honest with you, I haven't really played around with the different logins. It's just a matter of logging in, creating your orientation handbook generator and seeing what you can come up with. If you do have any challenges or need additional support, at the end of the webinar, you're going to be getting an email from Jessica with all of the resources and information that we discussed today and our contact information, including mine and Zoe. So certainly reach out. We can help you with navigating even the small business center or navigating the orientation handbook generator. So the definition, so Monica's asking the definition of small businesses, was it discussed? Isn't this funny? So you would think, I think when it comes to WSIB, I believe WSIB defines a small business as any business that has less than 99 employees, which is kind of funny, right? Because when you think of 99 employees, it seems like a larger organization. But I think it's anything under 99 employees. So hopefully that answers that question. Okay, so to keep things moving along and just being mindful of time, at this point, I'm going to hand it off to Zoe. Zoe is going to talk to you about all the amazing free resources available and the different ways that we can support you. So over to you, Zoe.
Thanks, Stella. Now that let's take a quick look at where to find all these resources on WSPS.ca. Just click on How We Help in the top menu. The section gives you easy access to practical tools and templates. It's perfect for small business starting out. You'll also find training, consulting, sector-specific guidance, and a dedicated small business area. Whatever stage your business is in, WSPS has support ready for you. Be sure to bookmark this page. I'm sure you'll go back to it. Now, WSPS is offering a full suite of free e-courses to help workplaces build essential safety skills. Topics include health and safety awareness, WHMIS, violence and harassment, mental health, landscape safety, and more. They're mobile friendly, they're easy to access, and there's no promo code required. The offer runs until March 31st with course completion until April 30th. It's a quick, accessible way for small businesses to meet requirements and strengthen safety knowledge. And while those free e-courses are a great way to build your core safety knowledge, we also have our Small Biz Bites videos. They're quick, practical tips made for busy small businesses. These videos are short, they're animated and easy to follow. They're fun, straightforward with quick knowledge checks. We have approximately 21 topics, including Joint Health and Safety Committee, essentials for first aid, workplace violence and harassment, emergency preparedness for small business. They're perfect for startups and small businesses to learn and confirm essential standards, and they're available in English as well as in French. And to support the Ontario's diverse workforce, we also offer multi-language resources for the manufacturing and agriculture sectors. These ensure safety information is accessible for new Canadians and temporary foreign workers. Resources include mobile-friendly videos, printable posters with QR codes, the content covering common industry hazards available in multi-languages as shown here on the screen. And for those who prefer podcasts, WSPS offers over 40 episodes covering current health and safety issues impacting the small businesses. Each episode shares practical tips and resources to help you stay compliant and create a safer workplace. Past topics include what to expect during a ministry workplace inspection, first aid requirements for Ontario businesses, respond to crime and violence in retail. In our latest episode, we explore how to balance business and safety with practical tips to save money and time. You can listen and subscribe on all your major podcast platforms shown on the screen. Now, this is one of my favorites. The Small Business Advisory Service is a free program designed for businesses with fewer than 20 employees. Its goal is to help small businesses strengthen their health and safety practices with simple, practical support. The program connects business owners with one of nearly 200 WSPS volunteers across Ontario. Through this service, businesses receive 10 hours of one-on-one coaching from a CRSP certified volunteer, an on-site walkthrough to identify safety gaps, and support to build a tailored action plan. It's ideal for businesses needing clarity on requirements or help strengthening safety without extra time or budget. We'll be sending an email after today's webinar with the application form, so keep an eye out for it. And before we wrap up, I really want to highlight the WSIB's Health and Safety Excellence Program. It isn't a free service, but it's incredibly valuable. WSPS has supported 18,000 plus participants, helping businesses earn over $10 million in WSIB rebates. As an approved provider since day one, we offer deep expertise and hands-on guidance. The program benefits includes you get a dedicated health and safety excellence team to guide you every step of the way. There are 41 safety topics to choose from. You have access to tools, resources, and templates in every stage. There's monthly communication and networking sessions. We provide evidence review before WSIB submission. You even get 24/7 access to our member community site. Businesses can earn rebates up to $50,000 plus a $1,000 joining bonus. Participants also receive a 10% discount on other WSPS services. Ultimately, the program helps prevent injuries, strengthen safety culture, and rewards you for the work that you're already doing. All right, so let's do a quick recap with a fun true or false game. Jump into the chat with your answers. Don't be shy. First one, the internal responsibility system is a core workplace safety principle where all parties, employers, supervisors, and workers share responsibility for health and safety. True or false? I see some truths. Come on. Any more? Good answer. That's definitely true. Yep, all the truths are coming in. Next one. the Occupational Health and Safety Act is the main health and safety law in Ontario. True or false? Very good. We are really paying attention here. Next one. The Occupational Health and Safety Act requires employers in Ontario to ensure that all their workers and supervisors complete a basic occupational health and safety awareness training program. Very good. Yes. Yes, true. Very good. All right, last one, I promise. WSPS supports businesses with guidance, training, and many free resources. True or false? True. Very good. Great job, everybody. Thanks for joining in. All right, so I want to pause on this slide because it's an important reminder of why this work matters. At the end of the day, everyone deserves to finish their shift and get home safely to the people who care about them. Safety isn't just policies. It's about protecting families, moments, and futures. When WSPS supports a business, we're helping protect tomorrow for every worker. That's what drives everything we do. And keeping that in mind, let's look at the resources available to support you. We'll be sending a follow-up email, as mentioned before, with links to everything we've covered here today, so you have access to all the materials. We'll also include our contact information. If you have any questions or need additional guidance, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you for joining today's Safety Connection. If you'd like to connect with a WSPS consultant, please reach out using the contact information on screen. You can also visit us on WSPS.ca or follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and YouTube to stay connected. Thanks again, everyone. And if anyone has any questions that they'd like to bring forward now, please feel free to jump in.
Great job, Zoe.
Thank you.
So I did see a question. Someone had asked about, let me just go back to it. If a business is working towards core certification, should we, in tandem, also be involved into the WSIB Health and Safety Excellence Program? And I see that our Jeff Padlow is here from our
Yes.
Excellence team. Now, Jeff, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure if they're working towards core certification, they continue to working towards core. It would be redundant for them to be in the Health and Safety Excellence Program. Is that right? Oh, absolutely. They should join. Okay. All right. I was wrong. So certainly reach out to us. We're going to put you in touch with our professionals, our health and safety excellence team. They can answer all your questions there. So, yeah. I thank you so much for joining us today, everybody. I know it was a lot of information in a short period of time. We are going to be sending those resources to you after the fact. Again, we're here to help you, right? So if you need any kind of help, navigation, guidance, certainly reach out to us. Our contact information, both Zoe and I, will be included in the email, and don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks so much for spending your time with us today. We'll see you again.
Thanks. Bye-bye.